Welcome to the David Bradley Show with your host, David Bradley.
Hey guys, how's it going? So, all the way from LA, California, this gentleman has decided he wanted to hang out with me for a little while. His best friend, Caitlin, who's now helping with the show a little bit, she brought him up here. He wanted to be on the podcast, and this is his first podcast.
My first podcast.
This is going to be awesome. So, anyway, everybody meet Peter Howard, please.
What's up, everybody?
What's going on, brother?
Not too much. It's good to be in town. Haven't been back in Nashville in about 7 months, 8 months.
I don't know. I'm not you. I mean,
since January. January
well.
is when I was here last.
So you only, came to town for like 3-4 days or something like that?
Yeah. I was going. My girlfriend, some of her friends invited her out to this thing in New Orleans. It's like a yearly thing they try to do. It's these friends of hers from Duke, and they live all over the country. So they all try to gather in one spot for a couple days.
Oh, that's cool.
And so at the end of it, I was like, might as well just tack on a couple days to go back to Nashville.
Yeah, hang out, see everybody.
Some of my buddies. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because you lived here, 7 years is what you said?
Yeah, since from 2015 to 2022.
I'm still curious why in the hell you left.
I guess there's just, like with film and whatnot, there's a lot more out there than in Nashville.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, you got a bunch. There's been like a I can't think of the word. Not resurgence, but a surgence of indie movie makers.
Yeah,
is that a word? Surgence?
Surgence?
Is
I don't know.
Was that right?
If it wasn't then, it is now.
Well, But anyway, a big rise in the indie music industry and the movie industry, and I mean, the indie stuff is really coming up a lot.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And I think the strike has got a lot to do with it.
Actually, yeah, the strike has really, it's shut down the town, just at least from the perspective of like the major employers, the major studios, they're all kind of for right now. So yeah, you got a lot of stuff going on right now that's down the pipeline that's smaller, more indie. But for a number of people, that's a huge opportunity.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the way I look at it. I mean,
yeah.
Cause I got a buddy of mine, actually friend of the show, Aaron Mertez. He's kind of like the premier horror indie guy in Nashville.
Sure.
And dude, he's like booked
I
one movie right after another. I even told him, I said, because I'm planning on doing like I got something in the works. I'm planning on.
Okay.
And I was trying to get him to come on.
Yeah.
For that, Yeah. And he's like, dude, I don't know. He said, I just got through with this one movie. I got to edit it. So I'm looking at 3 to 6 weeks, editing and getting everything done. And then I'm going to end up going right back into another movie.
Yeah. And it's interesting. LA used to really have a monopoly on film. And it still is, I guess, from like a market share perspective, like the place still where most big stuff is made. But there actually has been a huge diversification geographically of productions as of late, like Georgia, Atlanta has become a really big hotspot for making film.
Well, yeah, I think The Walking Dead did that.
Yeah, a lot of AMC stuff. There was a lot of investment starting probably about 10 years ago. But Nashville too, I heard somewhere, this might not be true, but I heard that there was a big film studio that was being built to the north of Nashville.
I'm north of Nashville. I don't know. I haven't heard.
Well, I guess we'll have to see in the next couple of years if there's a big film studio that exists that didn't previously exist,
Maybe if they do build it and everything, when you visit, we can go hang out at the studio.
Hell yeah.
Go up there and say, hey guys, what's up?
But there's definitely been a push too, just from a governmental perspective from a lot of these states to get some of the business from California.
Yeah, because it
is very expensive, I will say.
Well, over the years, they've always, like old John Wayne movies, they always went to Arizona and New Mexico to film them and stuff, Oh,
100%.
And there was always that, the site casting and everything. And I can see where it would be very lucrative for like the state chamber of commerce to get involved and get a lot.
I mean, it can bring a lot of money in.
Oh yeah,
to a community. If a film is being shot there.
Yeah.
But actually, Nashville too. There has been a big push towards a lot of film scoring to be like when there's a need for live scoring with big orchestras, there really are not that many studios anywhere that can handle a whole orchestra.
No, because that's huge.
And that's huge. And as you can imagine, it's expensive as all get out, especially if these people are all getting union rate for the whole day. But there's been a push for a lot of that to be done in Nashville as of late. Yeah, like Sony has been doing a lot of stuff at Ocean Way.
Cool.
Music Row. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, because we've got that one big symphony place down there in Nashville. I can't even remember the name of it.
Like the actual Symphony Center?
I think it's
Schermerhorn?
I don't know what it's called. Caitlin?
You know Caitlin?
You don't know? You're supposed to know this stuff. Julie's not here. You're supposed to pick up the grip, okay?
Wow, Caitlin.
But yeah, I mean, it's I have not been. The last time I actually seen the symphony, I think I was at T-Pack, and I was probably like 10, 12 years old.
Okay. Yeah.
And I haven't really been back. And that's something that I actually plan on doing because I do love the whole symphony sound.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's kind of its own little thing. You've got like the popular music side of things, and there's a lot of overlap between that, country music, pop music, all that, especially in a town like Nashville. But the symphonic stuff, the more, classical stuff is really like its own little insular thing.
The classical?
Yeah.
That was cute.
The Nashville Symphony is actually one of the better ones in the whole country.
Yeah.
Randomly Dallas is also incredibly good, but Nashville is extremely well respected.
Oh yeah. I mean, they've got, from what I've heard, they have got one of the best put together, and the conductor, all that stuff, and all the musicians and everything. I mean, they're just, and that's something like if you're like a singer-songwriter and you're putting a band together to go out on the road or whatever, you might have to change out members.
Sure.
Because they've got pre-booking somewhere else,
of course, yeah.
And that's, from what I understand, it's hard as all get out if you're a classically trained musician to get on with the Nashville Symphony.
It is.
So, I mean, it's
extremely competitive.
Yeah. I mean,
you just don't have that many outfits for like a whole symphony, I mean, city by city, there might be one or two.
Yeah.
In LA and New York, there's a couple more, but generally speaking, you have just thousands of people, graduating from these places like Juilliard, Eastman, these, conservatories where they're just amazing players. And they're all kind of being funneled into the same couple employers. So of course these employers are like, well, I can pick one person from a pool of 200 and they're all excellent. So of course the final selection is like amazing.
That would be wild to watch. It'd probably be better than the NFL draft.
Yeah. I mean, if your scene is classical music, it is much the same.
Well, I mean, I'm old school on a lot of stuff, and I think, honestly, and like when Metallica did that orchestra.
Yeah, I know exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah, and I love that, the way they came in. It just really added to it. But a lot of people that I've talked to and some actual facts that I've read, you can actually trace a lot of metal music back into classical.
Oh, totally. And I think you can do that with a lot of different stuff, especially with rock music, like prog, math rock, all that. I mean, that's just like directly coming from, in many cases, the world of classical. But yeah, I love it when bands do stuff like that. I think
it's different.
It can add a lot of flavor to a song, that you think
Yeah.
And then you add an orchestra to it, and it's like, whoa, it adds colors to it that I never thought existed.
Yeah, because I listened to it and I was blown away because one of the things, I think it's called, the name of the song is The Color of Gold, I believe is the name of it. But it was also in, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, it was one of those Clint Eastwood movies. It was in it.
Yeah.
And I was like 10.
Oh, The Ecstasy of Gold.
Yeah, The Ecstasy of Gold.
Yeah.
Now I'm trying to remember exactly which Clint Eastwood movie it was.
That was The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Was it?
Yeah.
I thought it was. Because I know they had that.
Sergio Leone, great director.
Yeah, I mean, I loved all those movies.
Fistful of Dollars.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing.
Cheesy, low budget, but damn good.
So good. Yeah.
And I remember hearing that when I was like 10, 11 years old,
Sure.
And then Metallica came out with that album.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm riding down the road just listening to the orchestra play The Ecstasy of Gold.
Yeah.
And just blasting it.
Very well written piece of music.
It was.
Yeah.
It's wild, some of that stuff.
Those spaghetti westerns had great soundtracks. Or like that really specific guitar sound that you get, like that timbre where it's like that very verby, echoey.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Bow, 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 bow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great.
Boom, boom, boom.
It's like a very specific tone palette, I think, that has come to be associated with like that kind of score.
And so that's where I was most curious about you from what Caitlin was telling me before you even got here. Because I think that's something. See, what I try to do is I try to cover as much in the entertainment industry as I possibly can.
Totally.
And that's something you hardly ever hear somebody talking about.
Tone colors?
Is scoring a movie.
Oh, yeah. It's very niche, I suppose, in its own, especially in Nashville.
Yeah, I mean.
You don't hear that about very often.
I mean, usually it's just somebody selects a sound bite on a computer, and that's it.
Yeah.
But as far as actually composing it and putting it together and then getting it in the movie.
It's a lot of work.
Dude, it sounds exhausting.
It is very exhausting. I mean, I just finished up a cue for this production. It probably took like 18 hours maybe for a couple minutes of music. I mean, it's like pretty hardcore. And you don't have that long to do a score. You have a bit. You can do it. But, I mean, you were working way over 40 hours a week from the start of the contract to the end of it.
Right. So you're actually on a limit as far as the hours and everything. Well,
it's more so just like we're looking to have kind of like the final edit scored by X date. They might have like a hard deal with a distributor where they want to have it totally done, the master reel by, December 1st or whatever.
Right.
There's usually some wiggle room just because it's, this big collaborative creative project between hundreds of people. And sometimes you'll work on a cue and then they'll go in and they'll edit it some more because there's a piece of dialogue that they wanted in that wasn't previously there or something like that, Yeah. And then it's like, okay, now I have to go back in and I have to rescore this cue. And so it's, it's a process to where like there are dates you want to get things done by, but things happen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everything happens.
For sure. It's this big dynamic thing.
Yeah.
With tons of people on it.
Yeah, because I was, cause I knew they did it, but I didn't know the process of it. And the only thing that actually interested me about it was the movie Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's what Peter did.
Mm-hmm.
He sat and, it's on the screen in front of him and he's adding ominous tones and stuff, And that's, and a lot of people,
sure.
I think a lot of people think of it like that's, it's just some guy doing that,
no, you got to get like a cue sheet out, through BMI or ASCAP or whomever. And you got to kind of go through it with the director. There's a thing called a spotting session, which you have to do. It's very important to the whole process. And it's like, it's kind of cumbersome in the moment where, you got to go through the whole film with the director with like the cut that they've got of it.
Yeah.
And you kind of got to go from front to back. Like, I see music here and here and here. And you got time code and you got to write down the time code on the cue sheet.
Right.
Kind of like write down the vibe. Like, the director wants this to be sad and look at this woman's eyes and like, how sad is she? And, you got to capture that. And and you got to do this whole thing, and then you actually have to score it all, and I don't know. It's a thing. It can go for a while.
Yeah, but it's fascinating.
It can be a very like complicated, nuanced process. Yeah, it is very fascinating.
It's fascinating.
It's a very cool universe.
Yeah, I think it'd be more like that would have to be something that you actually have to be really, really in love with the composing and all that time and everything. I mean, you'd have to really be dedicated.
You have to really like it. And to get like gigs is hard.
Yeah.
Because, to start off, excuse me, you're generally going to have like a portfolio, and then it's like, who do you give the portfolios to? You got to network your ass off, and it's a whole thing just getting the gig. So you got to really love it.
Would you have to get a manager to do that, or like a talent agent, or?
So usually once you get to a certain level, and I'm not at this level yet, but once you get to a certain level financially, you generally want to start looking towards an agent.
Okay.
Because that means less time. You're like, hell, knowing how hard it is to get gigs, like I would if I was making a certain amount of money, so easily give away a percentage of my cut to an agent to just like find gigs for me.
Yeah.
So I don't have to worry about that. I can just focus on what I'm good at, which is just like making the music.
Right. So that's what I was curious about, because I didn't know because I mean, in a way, that kind of ties in with your singer-songwriter background and the sound tech stuff that you did.
Mm-hmm.
And, and it's just rolling in my head, it's like, okay, so it's kind of like an artist out there right now trying to book a gig.
It is much the same, yeah. Absolutely. You got to go to networking events and just really put yourself out there. And
I'm bad at networking events.
Oh, me too. Me too.
I'm just like, dude, I'd rather sit at home and eat ice cream.
Oh, I feel that. and there's a certain contrived vibe that oftentimes gets fostered at these events.
Yeah.
Of like and to an extent this is an LA thing, but like a superficiality, I guess, of there are a lot of connections that are I don't know. I guess this isn't so much a networking event thing, though sort of it is, of just the superficiality of like, not necessarily giving a shit about who you are as a person, but kind of just like, what can I get from you?
Oh, so pretentious people.
Oh, there's a lot of that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Nashville too, but there's a lot of that in LA, yeah.
Well, that's why I like, a lot of the friends that I've made from the show and everything is because, I mean, they're laid back, simple folk.
Yeah.
To just have a dream and they're
but
putting
it's
it
very
all together.
genuine,
Yeah.
Like they genuinely like spending time with you, and they genuinely are just like there to enjoy.
I don't know if they like spending time with me or not. I mean, I'm weird.
Well, I assume they probably do.
I mean, I might show up in shorts and flip flops. Who knows? Where's the pool party at, man? Come on.
I feel that.
But
there are plenty of pool parties, and actually, there's a lot of networking events that happen at pool parties.
If they was to take all the water out of the pools in California, they wouldn't have no drought.
There are a lot of pools there. That is true.
Because you sit there when they have the wildfires and stuff, and you see the helicopters flying over, and they're dropping this tank down in somebody's pool and sucking it out and going out and fighting the fires,
Oh, yeah. Well, a big issue with LA is that way back in the day, they realized, like, oh my gosh, this city's starting to get like really big, and like we're a desert town. And so it ended up that actually I believe the guy who was in charge of this, his last name was Mulholland, which is why like Mulholland Drive, which is a very famous place, that's why it's named what it is.
I always wanted to cruise it just one time.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty beautiful. I won't lie.
I won't go shopping there, but I'll cruise up and down the road.
But yeah, they got this really elaborate system of aqueducts to get water from way the hell out.
Yeah.
And like the system that evolved out of that, it leaves a lot of vulnerabilities with the water supply.
Yeah. And they've got all those storm drainage type things. You see them in the movies where they're racing the cars down them and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Aqueducts or whatever they're called. I don't know. Who knows?
It's It's a big city, though. Like, I would not want to be in charge of planning it. Or,
well, I mean, Nashville's getting big, and ain't nobody even started figuring out how to plan the damn thing yet.
Yeah, and there's a lot of mistakes, I think, that were made with L.A. that hopefully Nashville, like, learns from before it becomes, like...
Nah, they ain't gonna learn nothing.
Like, public transportation would really pay for itself in spades in L.A., and it's just at a point where I don't know how they could do it because it's so spread out.
Yeah.
Nashville, maybe. If there was a big, massive investment in public transportation, like a subway system or I don't know, maybe.
Well, it all depends on who lines whose pockets. Well, that's all.
Touche.
It's all money, man.
Touche.
All money.
Well, you know, those are expensive. Those are very expensive.
I feel naked. There's no boards in front of me. Caitlin's got my boards over there running them. I just feel naked. I really do.
How's the weather over there, Caitlin?
We got a thumbs up. I don't know. Maybe we should put like a microphone on her where she can chime in every now and then.
Could be like a guest star.
We ain't doing that. Okay. She grows on you, you know.
Oh yeah, it's kind of weird at first, but you learn to like her over the years.
That is crazy. So do you on the scoring part, when you're in with the director, do you automatically start composing the music then when you're sitting there with all of them? I mean, is it just like flash up on you when you're writing down the time code and you're thinking?
I'd say so. To a large extent, yeah. Like, you know, when I see a reel, I usually kind of hear in my head.
Okay.
The director. It might not be like the final product, but it's kind of like carving a statue. You know, like you got the big block of granite there when you watch it, and then it's a matter of kind of carving out, like, you know, exactly what you want from that bigger block.
Right.
Later on.
Yeah, because I don't know. I can't write songs. I've tried. I can't do it.
Fair enough.
I just can't do it.
Certainly not for everyone.
But when I was driving truck cross country, way back in the day, I mean, I used to sit there and think of different things, and I could get like a little bit of a chorus. I could get a little bit of a hook or something, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm driving, so I'm not like picking up paper and writing it down and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
So by the time I got to where I could stop and get fuel again, I done forgot every damn thing. It just didn't stick.
It can be hard to retain one's best ideas, you know? I mean, like the whole idea of, I don't know, like 1964, Keith Richards is asleep in his bed, and all of a sudden he hears bow, 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 no, no, and having to go over and immediately write it down, you know, and like get it on tape so that he doesn't forget it. Like, that's generally, I think, pretty true. Like, you get an idea, and it's like, okay, I've got this inspiration, I got this idea, I got to do something with it, or it's going to go back into the ether, you know?
Yeah. I got a buddy, Coley Carr. I mean, if you sit there, like, he helped me out with the show a little bit.
Sure.
And I'm not a wordsmith. I've never been a wordsmith. And
neither am I.
Yeah. And, but I was on the phone with him, and I'm like, dude, can you help me out a little bit? Do this for me. And he's like, I'd love to. And I told him the basis of what I was wanting.
Yeah.
20 minutes later, he sends me a text with everything laid out.
Sure.
And I'm just like, how does your mind work like that?
Oh, yeah. Especially in Nashville, man. Like, people who are good with words are very good with words.
He's got like 90 songs wrote, and he'll do them on Facebook every now and then.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, and get them out there. Mm-hmm. But he doesn't.
Some of the lyricism in this town is unbelievable.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's, you know, we were talking before we started on the show, you know, there's a lot of music out there that people will never hear just because people doubt themselves or they get in their head about it just ain't no good.
It's true. It's true. I think crippling self-doubt is just like part of the artistic experience. I honestly don't know a single person who's, you know, creative, who doesn't struggle with like, is my idea actually shit?
Yeah.
But it's kind of getting past that and just saying, screw it, I'm going to do the thing anyways. you know, in spite of that.
Well, I mean, the biggest part of it though is once you've wrote the song, and I know a lot of songwriters that have struggled with this. They can write the song,
Yeah.
words, instrumentation, whole 9 yards, but they don't know who to go to.
Right. And that's really the tough part is like in a town like Nashville or Los Angeles or New York.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many talented creative people, and it's just there aren't that many really organized outlets for them to go to.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, the internet, part of the reason the internet is so popular with the creative crowd, I guess, is because it's like such an easy, obvious choice to like, I don't know if someone important is going to listen to this, but it's at least something I can do, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of it's on YouTube. A lot of people are doing Facebook Live.
Yeah.
You know, like Coley does. And it may get seen. It may not get seen, you know.
But at least you're doing something. At least
you're doing something.
You're giving it a chance. You're giving it a shot to really like be heard by somebody.
Yeah. And that's what I like, you know. I mean, it's just I just keep thinking about how many songs are sitting in the back of somebody's closet. And it's probably something that would be so inspirational to another person.
Yeah.
Because
and it just never gets heard.
Well, I mean, you know, I'm an old guy. I've lived a lot of crap, and there's a lot of music out there that actually pulled me through, helped me.
Oh yeah,
you know, and
I mean, music says what words cannot. You know.
Yeah, it does. Even with like movie scores, some movie scores I've actually listened to a lot, and it's just because of the tone, you know. And
no, absolutely.
And look, I ain't proud. I'll tell you the damn truth. There's some movies I've watched, and then that score come in. If the score wasn't there, I'd have been fine.
Yeah.
But that score come in right at that precise moment, and I was a babbling baby. I'm telling you.
Oh yeah. I mean, it
touches your soul, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's a way to get inside the characters' heads that like you can't really get through a script. You know.
Yeah.
It can really impact a movie, and at its best, it can be as well known as the movie itself.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, Pirates of the Caribbean. I think that's as well known probably as the film itself.
Yeah.
Some of John Williams stuff, same way.
Yeah.
Star Wars theme. I mean, my gosh, that was like a top 10 hit in 1977.
You know, I said if I ever got married again, I was going to have the Star Wars theme.
Oh yeah.
The Darth Vader intro.
Oh, I love that.
Oh yeah, I mean it'd be badass. And then I'd probably have, you know, something Iron Maiden playing, you know, Number of the Beast or something.
Run to the Hills.
Yeah. Oh, that would be badass. Have mine come in with the Darth Vader intro. And then when she comes in to walk down the aisle, have the Number of the Beast playing.
Oh, that's pretty funny. But, you know, I'll say...
Caitlin's not laughing.
Like, I actually had the privilege about, I don't know, month and a half ago, around July 4th, to go see John Williams in concert. And, you know, he was doing it. He was there in person. He is a rock star.
Yeah.
And like, it's just wild to me how he is well into his 90s.
Yeah.
And I think he's 90. I don't know how well into the 90s he is, but I know he's at least 90. And he's, you know, he gets up on there and everyone just goes wild.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd think it's like Aerosmith or Paul McCartney or something.
Oh, yeah.
It's unbelievable. And, you know, I think it's cool the longevity that can come out of that too, right? I mean, like, he never has to play a show.
Yeah.
But if he wants to play a show, there are... so I went to see him at the Hollywood Bowl, which is, I don't know, a lot of people. It's
a huge venue.
It's a very big venue. And, you know, it was just thousands and thousands of people, like, screaming, crying, standing ovations, the whole nine. I mean... And, you know, sometimes, too, when I've seen these rock stars that are, you know, getting up in their years, sometimes they don't necessarily sound as good as they did when they were 30 years old.
Well, but I mean, you get arthritis.
Of course, right. And stuff, you just can't keep it up the way, you know, you were able to a number of years ago. But something that was cool with John Williams is that it's an orchestra, right? So it's like it sounds exactly the same as it did in the 70s.
Yeah.
It was a very unique and cool concert, I guess.
I like that.
Yeah.
See, I like of course, everybody jokes about Keith Richards. He,
that poor guy.
It's crazy.
What kind of world are we going to leave for him?
Well, I mean, him and Bob Dylan's way up there in years now. So
Yeah.
And then look at Willie. I mean, come on.
That's true. He actually had his birthday party in the Hollywood Bowl, which like a couple of months ago, and apparently it was just totally sold out. And he's the kind of guy too who he's kind of like a Taylor Swift type, where he just like has a lot of, I guess, quote unquote friends in the area, where he can just call up super famous musicians at the last minute
and go hang out.
And but also just like, hey, I got a show on tonight. You want to just play some songs with me?
Yeah.
And so and it was a Willie thing, but apparently all these people ended up coming out to the show, and it was this big old bonanza with probably
back
8 or 9 big artists.
Well, back in the day, they used to have the Charlie Daniels put on a thing, and it was the volunteer jam. Dude, it was a freaking huge, big deal.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean, he had people coming from all over.
Oh, yeah.
And they didn't get paid. It was just a volunteer jam.
Yeah. I don't think these guests are getting paid for that.
Yeah.
They're just coming on because they like Willie Nelson.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would walk up there and say, hey, Willie, how's it going?
He's really tight with Snoop Dogg, which I think is just so funny.
What I found totally amazing about that was Snoop Dogg actually said he couldn't hang with Willie.
No?
Willie outsmoked
Willie
him.
could outsmoke him? I could see that.
Outsmoked him.
Yeah.
I laughed my butt off about that.
And Snoop and Martha Stewart are buddies for, I guess, the same recreational reason, you know?
No, I mean, well, Snoop put out a cookbook.
Oh, that is so fun. I didn't even know that.
And Martha had to have a hand in that.
Of course.
And it was just recipes that,
Sure,
his mama had made and stuff like that. And I'm just like, I even said it on the show. How in the hell can you have a Snoop Dogg cookbook?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I haven't got one. I don't know what the ingredients say or anything else, but I can just picture in my head. You hit like 2, 3, 4 ingredients. You put it in the mixing bowl. Then you roll one up. You smoke it.
And whatever you put in that mixing bowl is going to taste so good.
You're probably stoned to bejesus and then never gets it into the oven or cooked on the stove or whatever.
That's all right. That's part of the experience.
That's just, I ain't gonna lie. I used to smoke weed all the time when I was younger.
That's a good time.
And I miss it.
It's a good time. It's a good time.
I don't know. I smoked some a long time ago when all the hybrids and all this other stuff started coming out.
Oh, yeah.
And 2 hits.
Oh, yeah.
And I was a paranoid, crazed mug.
Yeah. Weed in the past, as I understand it, weed in the past probably 20 years has gotten way more potent as they've started to really look into it from a botanist's perspective and start crossbreeding in certain ways.
Oh yeah, they put some science in that
crazy crap. THC. Oh yeah, it's a cottage industry out in California. I honestly at this point don't know how anyone's making money off it because there's just so many companies that are that are out there. But hey, it's cool with me. I mean,
I've seen one. There was one company, I can't remember the name of it, and I'm not going to say it anyway. But it was out in Colorado. They were like the front runners, of the grow industry and all that. Mm-hmm. And dude's worth triple-digit millions.
Oh yeah,
just from growing weed.
Sure, I can imagine.
I mean, what you're paying for some fertilizer, you're paying for some employees. Mm-hmm. I'm curious, does he drug test his employees?
Probably not.
You're smoking up the profit. You can't do that.
Getting high on their own supply.
Yeah, well, you ain't supposed to do that. You can't make money.
Yeah, back when it first started, in Colorado, I can imagine people were just making money hand over fist.
Yeah.
And now there's so many companies that are in it. I don't think the margins are very big.
I don't know. I mean,
at all.
Well, I know they've got it here in Tennessee where you can grow hemp.
Yeah.
But it has to be industrial hemp.
Right.
And I don't see a purpose in that.
I mean, weed itself is decriminalized, I think. Like in Davidson County, at least.
Is it? Caitlin's nodding, so.
Yeah. It's not legal to, like, sell it or anything, but.
You couldn't come up with anything else I asked you. But this you came up with. You noticed that?
I did.
I mean, it was like 2 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They decriminalized that.
Yeah. It's good to go now.
I actually ran audio for the DA. I think it was his victory party last year. I'd been working at this one company that I was doing live sound for. They, they're hosting this big gig for him. And, at first they thought it was just going to be like a presentation and then maybe like an acoustic player, maybe 2 acoustic players. And by the time the event ended up happening, it was like 7 of them.
Damn.
Yeah, it was like saxophones and the whole get out.
That'd been awesome.
It was like Glenn Funk and the Funky Bunch or something. It's like
Funky Bunch.
That's what they build themselves. It was beyond corny, but it was a good time. It was a good experience.
What was Mark Wahlberg's Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch?
I think it was Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch.
Yeah.
It's like weird to this day that he had a rap career at one point.
As an actor though, dude can act.
Oh yeah. Though I will to the day I die, I will disagree with the casting decision to make him Sully in that Uncharted movie a couple years ago.
Yeah, I had a problem with that.
I
didn't even watch the movie.
It was just, I played the games. And it's like they're very cinematic games.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like a very realized version of that character in the games.
Yeah.
And like, especially if you play the games, it's like, that's not Sully. That's not Sully.
Well, my ex-wife loved those.
The games?
The games.
Oh, yeah.
And she played them. Mm-hmm. Played the crap out of them. And I remember talking to her one day, and we got on the subject of that movie coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, I can't believe they cast who they cast for this movie.
Yeah, to me, that was just like unbelievable. Of all the actors in Hollywood, why Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg? And I do like Tom Holland a lot.
I like Tom Holland, but I don't see him in any kind of like...
No, not even close.
I mean...
Not that role.
There was one role he was in that he was pretty good at, but he was covered from head to toe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't see where they got to where they were casting that.
Video game adaptations have like a very wild relationship with Hollywood.
Yeah. I was impressed with Pirates of the Caribbean. You brought that up a while ago.
That's true. That was a very good adaptation. But
that
was a ride, I think, wasn't it? At like Disneyland?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
I've never been to Disneyland. I'm not one of those guys that go, we're going to Disneyland.
You're not a Disney adult?
No.
Is that the term for it, Caitlin? A Disney adult? I think it's Disney adult is like the term for.
My whole thing is, let's go get muddy. Let's get out in the woods and run and have fun. I get that. I done away with theme parks when they shut down Opryland.
Sure.
Because to me, that was just, the epitome of a theme park.
Yeah.
Because you had everything. You had music in there. You had shops. You had big theatrical plays and stuff.
Sure.
They had all of it.
I never actually went to, what was it?
I think they closed it down.
You ever go to Dollywood?
I've never been to Dollywood.
Never been to Dollywood.
And I love Dolly Parton. I think she's one hell of a lady.
Oh, yeah. She's cool as hell.
I mean, even if she wasn't worth millions of dollars, okay, you take away the music, everything else, she's just a good person.
I agree. I could not agree more.
She's
very, 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 just a very good person and very cool. She's like I think she's the biggest employer in Eastern Tennessee.
Probably.
I've heard something like that, and I wouldn't doubt it, given Dollywood. And
well, I mean, out there at Dollywood, she didn't directly copy Opryland.
But heavily influenced, yeah.
But heavily influenced,
For sure.
And she's got, the plays and the musicians and all that other stuff. So, God, there's no telling how many people work there.
Yeah.
And I know it's expensive as hell to get into.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, if it's anything on the scale of, like, Universal or Disneyland or something, it's...
Dude, I want to go to Universal. I do want to go there.
A lot of people. Yeah, Universal's pretty cool. I actually live pretty close to it, and it's funny because, like, sometimes on my way home from, stuff, like when I'm out in the valley and I'm going back south into just, like, L.A. proper, I'll see, like, Hogwarts Castle, because they got that big Hogwarts get up there.
I want to go, and there's two reasons why I want to go. Hogwarts, and Star Wars.
Oh, yeah. Well, Star Wars would be Disney.
Is it Disney?
Yeah.
I thought it was Universal.
Nah, they bought that up a number of years ago. Which is kind of weird, isn't it? Like Disney, Mickey Mouse, owning Star Wars.
I don't know. I mean...
Man, they own everything. Disney.
Yeah.
It's frightening. They own the town of LA.
It's crazy. And I've actually been there. I've drove by it.
To Disneyland or Disney's headquarters?
Whatever the hell it is out there in California. Mm-hmm. That place, I drove by it.
Disneyland?
Driving truck.
Okay, sure.
Because, I mean, well, you live right there in L.A., right there where 10 and 15 and a bunch of them come together right there. There's a Bass Pro Shops.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you go past the Bass Pro Shop and you head back east. You head back east and you go up 3 exits. You get off there, take a right, and you go over to the terminal that I used to go to every week.
Yeah?
Every week for 7 freaking years.
Oh, so you know how crowded it is out there.
I hate it out there.
Do you? It's definitely not for everyone.
When people ask me if I can describe California or LA area, I tell them next time you're at some business, gas station or Walgreens or something where they have the ashtray out front and the sand and the stuff and the cigarette butt sticking out of it. Yeah, that's California.
Fair enough. Like I said, it's not for everybody.
Unless you go north. You go north and it's gorgeous up there.
It is very pretty up north, yeah. It's very expensive. Well, it's very expensive all over the state, I guess.
Yeah. Well,
but
that's why everybody's leaving.
True. It is very, very hard to live there.
That's why I was like, "What? You 7 years here, and then you move out there?" And I'm just like,
I suppose part of the rationale is that it's getting so expensive in Nashville. It's like,
yeah, we're catching up to California.
If it was ever at a point where it's like, oh, stay in Nashville because it's so much cheaper than California, I don't know if that's still the case.
That's why I moved to Portland.
Yeah, it's really nice out here.
Portland, Tennessee. I mean, it's
absolutely beautiful.
Well, I mean, the reason I chose this spot was very few red lights.
Sure.
There's no Walmart.
Sure.
There's no Lowe's. There's no Home Depot. Mm-hmm. And it's small.
Yeah. I bet at night it's very quiet.
At night, you can walk out my backyard and look up and still see the stars.
See, that's beautiful. In California, the only way to do that is to, like, go multiple hours to the east. You got to be, like, in the desert.
Yeah, well, I mean, I used to love the run. Like, if I got night shift driving, that's all I did. If my drive time came across right there on 40, all the way across California, and I go into Barstow right there.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just gorgeous.
I mean, it cannot be denied. It is very pretty.
And you can see crap in that sky. You're like, what in the hell?
I actually went on like a little like artist's creative sort of retreat with 2 of my buddies a couple of weeks ago. We went to, do you know where 29 Palms is? Mm-hmm. It's like just north of Joshua Tree. Mm-hmm. Cool little town. Little town. It's like one little grocery store, I think, for the whole town.
Yeah.
Beautiful, though. I actually really like the inner part of the state, partially because nobody lives there.
Yeah.
I mean, you actually can get the isolation that you so crave in sometimes in Los Angeles.
Yeah, there's a town. We had to go down there to pick up produce, and it was I can't remember the name of the town. It's way south.
Sure.
And it almost looks like a miniature type style of Vegas. Mm-hmm. But it's real like
in California.
Yeah, but it's really like a retirement area, kind of.
Huh. But it's not like Coachella or Indio or any of that?
No, but it was just, I can't remember the name of it.
That's cool, though. Yeah,
Remind me when we get off of here, and I'll get my map out. And I'll look.
Fair enough. It's, that whole part of the country is very fascinating to me. It's still very, like, frontier-esque, where it's just, like, large swaths of nothingness, and then these, like, very interesting small little communities.
Yeah, there's one place down there that huge man-made lake.
Yeah. Oh, Salton Sea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's gorgeous down there.
It is really pretty.
And that city that I was talking about actually is like 20 miles east of there.
Okay.
If I'm thinking right.
I don't know, but that's very. I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, I'll look it up because it's probably still marked on my map that I've got in there.
For sure. And I like how it's LA is like 3 hours from Vegas.
Yeah, but that's a rough drive up through there.
That's true. There's barely even cell phone service for half of it.
I mean, it's all almost uphill the whole freaking way.
Well, it's hot as hell too. I mean,
Yeah,
Death Valley is like, if you're going from LA to Vegas, this is just to the left of your car.
Yeah.
Not too far at all.
I mean, but I've been in a big truck through Vegas, all up in there.
Oh, yeah.
Ain't much I ain't seen in a big truck.
I can imagine.
The bad part was you didn't really have time to stop and get out and look at different things and see stuff.
What you're seeing through the window of the truck. Yeah.
Yeah, it sucked.
No, I get that.
That's why I tell everybody, don't drive a truck.
Because it's not the sightseeing you think it is.
It's not what you think it is.
Fair enough.
It's kind of like a touring musician. You're stuck.
Yeah.
You got a bed.
It's a prison.
And basically. And the inside those trucks are probably smaller than a prison cell. And if you're team driving, then you got this other person.
That sounds claustrophobic.
Yeah, smelly too.
Oh, I can imagine.
They're asleep back there and they cut a fart. Let me tell you something.
Everybody smells it.
Yeah, it's all in that truck. You up there with the Lysol and spraying everything, getting crazy with it.
For sure. You ever been to Austin?
Yes.
That's another town. Kind of reminds me of Nashville a little bit.
The one place I always wanted to go down there was Austin City Limits. I always wanted to go down there and check that out.
Many years ago I went there. It was fun. Zilker Park by the river.
Yeah. Is it as big as what it looks like on TV?
It's pretty big. Yeah. I don't know what it looks like on TV, but it's pretty big.
You never seen Austin City Limits on TV?
I've seen like the little intimate shows of Austin City Limits.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But I've seen bigger shows there.
But like shots of the actual audience on the no, I haven't. But it's a very, very big festival.
It's awesome. I wouldn't mind going. It'd be fun. Who knows? So how often you come back to Nashville? Just whenever she goes on a retreat, or
This is my first time back since leaving.
Man.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
It is. It's good to be back though,
Well, I mean, you need to do it at least every 6 months.
I feel that. I was actually on the phone with my mom yesterday talking about that. I was like, damn, it's been too long.
Where's your mom live?
San Antonio. So I'm actually from, that's Austin. I grew up with that just kind of in the backyard.
Yeah.
That was like the local, well, not really local, I guess, but the nearby, like big music center that I would go to sometimes when I was a kid.
I got a friend of mine who lives down in Texas. We actually met. She was like 15.
Okay.
I was 16.
Okay.
At Fanfare.
Okay.
Her family had come up and went to Fanfare, and my mamaw, I had to go with mamaw all the time.
Mm-hmm.
She had to have adult supervision. So I went with her. I don't know why in the hell they put me in charge of that, but I would go with her and have fun and everything. And I met her there, and then we hit it off. We went to the Grand Ole Opry that night.
Yeah.
Hung out, and me and her has been friends ever since.
Nice.
She's got 4 kids.
Sure.
No, I watched them all grow up.
Yeah.
Here's the picture of the kids, and I'm like, oh, cool. But yeah, man, she lives right there at Carolyn Kalanick. She lives right there in Bryan, Texas.
Right on, right on.
And her 2 daughters go to college down there in Austin, I believe.
What a fascinating state. You know,
it's weird to drive through at night.
It is. It kind of reminds me of California in some ways, just in the sheer number of like biomes that you go through.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like when you're in like Texarkana,
Yeah.
it kind of feels like Nashville, really. It's like these big deciduous forests,
Yeah.
but then it slowly turns into.
Well, yeah, and then if you're down there on 8 and 10, I mean, it's quiet. It's just crazy to drive through because, I mean, it'll take you 24 hours to drive from one side to the other.
People chronically underestimate how big it is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's big.
Yeah.
Big.
I mean, it could be its own country.
Yeah. I mean, I think from Texarkana to El Paso, I believe, and this might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is right, from a straight line distance. Mm. It's further from Texarkana to El Paso than it is from Texarkana to Chicago.
Yeah. It's crazy.
I mean, it's just so unbelievably massive.
Well, if you're team driving and you hit the Texas line, you can drive your whole 11-hour shift.
In the same state. Oh, yeah.
And then you stop, get some good old Texas barbecue or whatever you want.
So good, too.
Yeah. And then they take over driving and you change out again and you just crossed over the other Texas line.
The barbecue there is unbeatable.
Dude, there's one place. God, I can't remember.
You ever been to Rudy's?
I've heard of Rudy's.
They got a lot of those right off the highway.
Yeah. This was on 10 or 20. No, it might have been on 20.
Okay.
Yeah, it was on 20 on the other side of Dallas and all that out there. And there was a place, I can't remember the name of it to save my life, but that's where I got that picture on my wall.
Oh, yeah.
In the living room, the Tombstone Crew.
Sure.
I bought it there. And they had, it was like this huge freaking case.
Yeah.
Of elk, deer,
oh yeah,
antelope. They had all that in beef jerky and stuff like that, you know.
Oh yeah.
And then they had the barbecue, and it was like kind of like I'll just say a smorgasbord of food.
Sure, yeah.
You know, and it was insane. And you had all this meat and everything else and tripe, all that right there.
They go hard with their jerky.
Oh, yeah. And and then they had, you know, like the fresh barbecue. You had like 4 or 5 trays of different types of barbecue.
Sure.
And I don't ever hit I stay in the mild right here. It's safe zone, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just insane, man. I couldn't get it. And it was just in a little bitty truck stop on the side of the road.
Oh, yeah. But those do get very, very spicy.
Oh, yeah.
Your digestive system begs for mercy with the hot
and driving a truck, you don't need that.
No.
Why is he parked on the side of the road, Mama?
He ate the hot jerky this time.
Well, you notice how his butt's backed up to the tire? Yeah, okay. He's letting it all out, baby. Letting it all out. Hope you don't blow a tire while you're at it.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy. So how many songs have you wrote? I'm curious about this.
How many? Just from like a volume standpoint?
Hey, see, I usually don't do Q&A, but I'm having so much fun with this with you.
I appreciate it. Gosh, I don't know. I mean, I wrote my first song when I was 12, and I was at summer camp, and it was very bad.
How do you know it was bad?
Well, I guess I just look back at it from the perspective.
Has anybody else heard it?
I think the people at the camp heard it, because I think there was like some dinky little talent show.
Oh, okay, cool.
But other than that, no, I don't think anyone ever has.
What if you wrote like the perfect kid song or something?
There's actually a girl I know who's a great singer-songwriter, phenomenal, in Manhattan. And she has really gone hard into that, like kids music.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
That stuff is pretty like.
Oh yeah, it's lucrative.
There's money there.
Oh yeah.
There's definitely an audience.
Not my kids' music, because I was bad about the Barney song.
Oh yeah.
You know, I love you. You
I love
me.
you. You love me.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Sure. Yeah, I changed almost every damn word in that song.
Didn't they go through like 5 or 6 different Barneys during the course of?
I have no clue.
Yeah, because they kept misbehaving. Like I think one of them was drunk on set once.
Yeah. I mean,
Stuff like that.
this is all hearsay. We have no proof.
We have no
nothing.
proof of this. We have no proof of this.
But yeah, that's my big thing when I was growing up is I would change songs.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, and I would.
But you say you can't write a song, but you can change a song.
I could change the song.
Okay. You just have to have like that template to start with.
Yeah, and I can make it as dirty as you want it to be.
I mean, I feel like there's definitely like a niche in the songwriting world for you with that skill set, and
It's possible. I don't know.
Nashville.
I mean, you know, it's of course now.
Remember that one song, "Dick Down in Dallas, Railed Out in Raleigh"? That was a big hit.
Mm-hmm. No, I didn't do that one. No, but there was a buddy of mine, Dustin Spears. He wrote a song, and it was called "Titty Tattoos."
Titty tattoos, nice.
Now, it's not what you would think from the title, right?
Sure.
It's actually just talking about, you know, women that get the tattoos right there on their top of their boobs, you know.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that bad of a song. I
Fair
liked it. So he did a benefit, Westmoreland Middle School, helping out the band.
Yeah.
You know, helping with, I think they had a flood or something like that. A bunch of instruments got messed up, tore up, stuff like that.
Sure.
So went out there and IMC'd and they did the little benefit thing. And I was shocked because there was maybe 150 people there.
Okay.
And in a big blanket, there's like 5 girls under the age of 22.
Okay.
And then next to them, there was another huge blanket with a bunch of people on there. And there was maybe some 16-year-olds and a mom and dad and stuff like that. He's getting close to the end of the set, and he's like, "Is there any song y'all want me to play or anything?" That whole area busted out loud with "Play Titty Tattoos." No. And I was just like, dude. And he was trying not to do that.
Sure,
you know,
family friendly and all that.
but he's got a lot of wonderful songs.
Yeah.
And now I might be guilty of it, but anyway, I told him, I said, write what your heart wants to write.
Sure.
You know, because then, I mean, even if it is a little bit risque, you know, I mean, hell, look at Rodney Carrington.
Right.
Show them to me, you know. I mean, there's, you name it. Rodney's wrote a bunch of stuff.
Sure.
And it was like a borderline risque.
Yeah.
And I love that. I don't know where in the hell I was going with this story, but anyway, I like burlesque stuff.
Fair enough.
Have you done any burlesque shows or anything?
Have I? Personally? Yeah. I can't say
I'm talking about scoring them or anything.
No, I have not scored a burlesque show.
Have you ever seen a burlesque?
I think
besides the movie.
I believe a long time ago.
I love the movie.
A number of years ago.
I like the movie Burlesque. That was good.
That's the one with like Cher, right?
Yeah, Cher
Like
and
Christina Aguilera.
Christina Aguilera.
Yeah.
Christina. Yeah. Hey, Cher's hot too.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder how much is plastic, how much is real.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, there's a whole lot of that. And I saw a number of years ago Barry Manilow in concert.
Mm-hmm.
And that dude is like, you know, talented as all get out, but he's definitely like more plastic than man at this point. It's kind of like Darth Vader, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
more machine than man.
See, even back in the day, I liked a lot of Barry Manilow stuff.
Yeah.
because I mean, musically, yeah, I mean, it was written beautifully, good tempo,
Totally.
and I mean, it was just awesome music.
Yeah. He started in the ad business. You know that?
I did not know that.
Doing jingles. That's how he started out. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Like interesting.
You done any of that?
Actually, yeah, for a little while. There's a place in town that I did a couple things for. It never ended up carrying over, you know, after I moved, but yeah, no, it was fun. It's a very like interesting, fast-paced business. There's pretty good money in it though.
I might have to get somebody on here that wrote jingles.
Yeah, that's like a very cool niche.
Like that's their career. That would be fun.
There are definitely people out there. There are people that make, you know, 6 figures and whatnot just writing jingles. More than that, I'm sure.
I was blown away to find out that the voiceover stuff pays lucratively. I did not know that.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, I'm doing a damn podcast. I ought to be doing voiceover work. But
yeah, voice actors can make killer money.
It's just basically like you're talking to your cousins on the phone, cutting up.
Yeah.
You know, making little stupid noises and shit. You know. Meet George Jetson. How did that go? Beep, beep.
You know, it's a really common thing in film these days is kind of to the point of voice acting is this thing called ADR.
I have no clue.
I'm actually not entirely sure what that stands for, but ADR is this process of like
another dumb reflex. I mean,
right. We didn't quite get the audio that we wanted on set.
Yeah. So
we're going to have the actor come in.
Yeah.
And recite their lines exactly as their lips are moving on screen.
Okay.
It's very interesting. Like there's a guy now out in LA who's got a whole ADR studio and everything, and it's
I seen a thing with Tom Hanks. I can't remember what show he was on. It was that British dude. Yeah, it was a British dude. I can't remember his name. Anyway, he was on that guy's show, and he was actually talking about, you know, doing the Toy Story.
Yeah.
You know, and he was like, you know, they're telling him to do different things and pretend like you're, you know, climbing up. And he's like, climbing up what, you know? So they had the cartoon playing right in front of him while he was doing the voiceover stuff, you know, and it was, you know, he's climbing up. So, trying to climb up, you know, and I found that fascinating because sometimes they don't do that. They just have whoever do it.
Yeah.
You know, and for him to actually be involved that much into the movie, I found it fascinating.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you feel bad for the person, you know, who's got to sit with Pro Tools for 8 hours after that and just like find the best takes for each line and edit them all down to ugh.
Yeah, but think of how much time it would have took if he was doing it my way. The reel-to-reels, the ADAT tape, all the stuff that I used to do. So
those are so great, though. Like reels. Do you feel like there's a huge difference when recorded analog versus digital?
Yes.
Because I do.
Yes.
I think there's like a warmth that you get. Like some people feel, oh, it's negligible. Oh, it's not that big. But
okay. This is the easiest way I can break it down.
Yeah.
Because me and Caitlin's actually talked about this. When everything went digital, they isolated every track to where you only heard what was supposed to be on that track.
Totally.
Now, in the digital realm, it's all clinical and sterile.
Yeah.
How they used to record and how we used to record on the reel-to-reels and the ADAT, the whole band was in the damn room.
Right.
You was getting bleed over from everybody.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you could tone it down a lot, but you had this bleed over. And then when the guy got in the vocal booth, because vocal booth's been around for a long time.
Sure. Yeah.
But when the guy got in the vocal booth and he laid his track, okay, now we need background vocals. Well, it'd be that guy.
Yeah.
and bass player or drummer or guitarist or whoever, some member of the band, and they would get in there with the booth with them. I've been in the booth several times with a band that I was helping.
Yeah.
And that was only because my voice at the time didn't sound like this.
Sure.
I could actually hang with Bon Jovi and all of them when I was singing back then. But, and we would go in and we'd lay it, I mean, you'd have 4 or 5 people in this booth harmonizing with each other.
Yeah.
And doing your backup vocals. Nowadays, one person, one track, one person, one track. And then they include all those tracks. So where we were having maybe 8 to 10 possibly tracks, you got 32 or 24,
yeah,
however many tracks you've run, and it's all digital, it's all sterile, there's no warmth.
And I think that's a big part of it. Also, actually, I was going to say that I think that's a big part of it, but also, it's too perfect. It's too perfect. Like, I feel like there's an authenticity that's sometimes lost.
Yeah.
And the fact that everything can be so like squished and expanded and twisted around, and you can isolate things so perfectly that there's a fakeness to it that I feel like becomes pretty pervasive.
Well, I mean, it's all the plugins, everything else. It's all man-made, and whoever created that program, you're at the mercy of what his thought process was to create that program.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Back then, I mean, it was a lot of the racks and everything else. Yeah, it was designed to do a certain thing, but you could fine tune it. You could play with 4 or 5 knobs that were on this rack, and you could create.
Yeah.
Whereas nowadays you got, oh God, what was it, Caitlin? You told me like buses or something like that, where you have to go from screen to screen to what? Oh my God. Hey, is weed legal in Nashville? No. Okay. See, she knew that right off the bat.
That's funny.
But yeah, it's just, like the tablet thing.
Yeah.
She was showing me one time. I had it in my hand and I was playing with it a little bit. I got it running, but I couldn't figure out how to do certain things on it. And then she comes over and she's like, oh, well, this, you got to go here and you got to go there and you got to hit this button, and it takes you to another screen, and then you got to go to another screen.
Yeah.
And
it's a lot less kinesthetic.
Yeah. And I'm just like, I used to do all this shit on a board.
It's nice to be able to actually feel faders, and
I like faders that don't move unless you move them.
Fair enough. I can definitely respect that. I kind of feel the same way. I mean, I don't know. There's something nice about like being able to throw stuff back up off a hard drive. Like saving a scene. Whoop, there go the faders.
See, y'all call it saving a scene.
Yeah.
Okay. Back when I was doing it, if you had more than 2 bands, you basically had it all wrote out on a piece of paper.
Yeah. Or like tape.
Or you had the blue tape.
Yeah.
And, okay, opening band's done. You can strip away the tape. Okay, this is what I got to be set at. Boom.
Oh, yeah.
And you're done.
Yeah.
Now you just hit, okay, delete that one and pull up this one. And, okay, we're ready.
Yeah.
And then you sit there and watch the faders move and the knobs turn and all that crap, I guess. I don't know.
It is sad, though, sometimes how I feel, technology has kind of done a number on the music industry, both from the business side and from the technological side.
Yeah.
Like, there are so many tools. It's beautiful how many tools you have at your disposal to make something sound however you could ever imagine.
Oh, yeah.
And anyone can on a laptop. You know? I mean, you have more power on a laptop than the Beatles did with hundreds of thousands of dollars in Abbey Road.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy.
And Abbey Road back in the day was freaking huge.
Pretty decked out, yeah.
I mean, it was nothing but freaking... if you didn't like a certain rack system that they had, they'd pull it out and slide the other one in.
Sure.
You know, and you sit there and tried out rack systems, you know. I mean, it was a great thing. I missed that. But
there was a linearity to it that I think was nice.
yeah.
But I don't know, like these days it's so easy to make good music, like a great recording, that some 60,000 tracks are uploaded to Spotify a day, something crazy like that.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that, but something like that.
Yeah, it's insane. Well, it's like, okay, this podcast.
Yeah.
I have all the equipment right here,
Sure.
and people could come in here and sit down, and I do it old fashioned. I mic all instruments. I don't do direct.
Right.
Which I think that was one thing me and Caitlin agreed on is did we agree on that one? As far as the guitars, micing them instead of direct. I thought they sounded better when you mic'd them. I'm gonna quit talking, Aaron.
Going direct, like with live, can be
It's a nightmare.
interesting.
It's a nightmare.
You lose a lot of the goodies, I think, when you go direct.
I would rather.
Like an amp is nice.
I love miking acoustic guitars. It is such a richness.
Acoustic guitars, yeah.
SM57, man, just mic it.
No, I feel that.
You know, and
Yeah, with acoustic guitars, got everything is direct these days.
yeah, everything is. I mean, I laugh every time I go to like a songwriter night or something like that, and they're not getting anything out of the guitar.
Sure.
Okay, I'm hearing them strum the guitar, but it's just not going into the sound PA.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and then you see them, oh, I need a new battery. And I'm like, because I got out of the music industry in 2008.
Sure.
A lot of things have changed.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah.
Me and Caitlin did a whole show on it one time. And it was just, I was just like blown away at how everything has changed. And I still believe in the good old mics, you know, SM7B. I believe in the SM57.
Great mics. Trusty, reliable.
SM58. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
if you wanted to hang a
For
banner,
live, gosh, that's like
yeah, I mean, it's
E-mic.
the one.
Yeah.
You know, you could take that, and if you needed to hang a banner before the show, and you had a nail and an SM58,
You can do
got it going.
And then just plug it in afterwards, and you're
plug
good
it
to
in,
go.
you're good. You
No
know?
loss in sound quality there.
No, and it's
It's like Nokia phone of microphones.
dude, I like my flip phone. Okay,
Hey, they're great.
almost cried when I had to get rid of it.
iPhones, like you breathe on them and they break.
Not mine.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I got one of those phone cases.
Oh yeah, gotta get OtterBox.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah, those things are like steel.
Yeah, because mine bounces around in the truck.
Yeah, yeah, those are great.
I hook up to a
always
trailer or something like that, and it'll come flying off the little holder that I've got.
Oh yeah.
Flying off, bounce across the floor. Nothing but fun, man.
Oh yeah.
Nothing but fun. But yeah, I love miking. I mean, to me it adds a little bit more warmth.
Yeah, and it just feels more organic.
Yeah,
in the space where the thing is happening.
Yeah, because I mean, I had Tattered Sons on here.
Sure. Okay.
And this was one of my earlier shows. But I mic'd his guitar
Okay.
and basically turned all the settings, the little digital settings that's on that Rode Podcaster.
Mm-hmm.
I just turned them off.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like direct to the mic, direct to the board.
Yeah, just the signal.
Just the signal. That was
One and
it.
done.
And his guitar sounded so rich
Sure.
and so beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, even after they did the acoustic song that they did, The Devil That You Know,
Mm-hmm.
After they did that, even the lead singer turned around and said, damn, that guitar sounds good, you know? And I was like, that's what I was going for.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, but with what you were saying, the technology and everything.
It's a beautiful thing in theory. It's great to have them, but it's misused a lot.
Well,
especially in a studio space.
With what I've got here, I've got the Rode Podcaster Pro, and then I've got Blackmagic Design, the ATM Mini 10 Mini Pro.
Okay.
With what I've got here, it's all digital. It's all everything, but everything I'm putting into it is natural.
Yeah.
You know, and kind of old schoolish.
Sure.
And I think that's where I'm getting a pretty good sound out of it.
Best results. Yeah.
You know, I mean, this is my natural voice.
Yeah.
It's your natural voice. And you can hear it, you know.
Absolutely.
And that's what I wanted. I wanted something that was more pure, more organic.
Sure.
But I had to do it because it's all that's available anymore.
What are your thoughts on auto-tune?
Yeah. Okay. Look. Have you got an auto-tune?
Do I have like the actual software?
Do you have the software? Can you?
I don't.
Okay. Go get the auto-tune or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Borrow it from a friend.
Yeah.
And here's a great thing to do. Put the microphone.
Okay.
Turn the auto-tune on.
Okay.
And fart. And see how many different ways you can change a fart.
Yeah.
Into
and
something.
Make it melodious.
Something you can do with it.
Oh, yeah.
To me, the worst thing that ever happened to the industry was auto-tune.
Think so? I mean, it's one of those things that I think it's a cool effect if you use it as an effect, but all too often it's used as like a
It's
crutch.
not. It's used as something.
As a crutch.
I mean, even back in the day, okay, before all this gadgetry,
Sure.
okay, if you had somebody come to you that wanted to record a song and they were talking and, you know, all full of themselves and all this other stuff, you hated to break it to them.
That they can't sing.
And you hated to try to make them sound decent.
Sure.
You know, and it's just, okay, if you want to do a demo on your song, great. But if you're wanting to put this out for a lot of people to listen to it,
you're going to have a rude awakening.
You're slapping yourself in the face.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you can't do it.
Sure.
I can't carry a tune in a bucket.
Sure.
But I know this.
Right.
And that's what pisses me off about a lot of people back then. And I think some people nowadays, people are going in and they can't play guitar. They can't sing. And they're digitally fixing all of this to where they sound like the voice of an angel.
Yeah.
And then some record company guy is going to listen to it and be like, that's all auto-tune.
Yeah.
You know, we can't do this.
Yeah, I mean, there's kind of a thorny, like, a social issue that I feel comes out of some of this technology too, where like now, you know, with the industry kind of being the way it is, it's very, very, very advantageous to, like, as an independent artist to have a lot of money from the get-go. Like, there's a classism that exists now in music that I feel like didn't exist. Like the whole rock and roll fantasy.
Yeah.
Just like, you know, 3 or 4 guys or whatever, just, you know, working class dudes, just hitting it up at the bar, and getting discovered by an A&R guy who hears them and is like, oh my God, let me sign you to this big contract. That doesn't really happen anymore.
No, it don't.
And so since it's all, you know, independently funded and whatnot, you can, if you don't have a ton of talent, to a decent extent, you can cover that up if you got the money.
Yeah.
You know?
I ain't got the money.
I mean, when I produce a lot of my stuff now, but, you know, back when I didn't really have the confidence to take that step, I would use producers, and I kind of sort of I figured out sort of what the market rates are for that, and it's basic baseline. You're looking at $1,500 in Nashville for a song, $2,000, you know, upwards of that. I mean, it's like a lot of money.
And so here's the thing. I'm not that guy that would do that to people.
Oh, like take the money and produce them even if they're not very good?
Yeah. I'm not that guy. And to be honest with you, I'm not that. I don't care. Okay, look, you could be the next Garth Brooks.
Sure.
Okay. And you come to me, and I hear you before we even get into the recording and producing and all that other stuff. You're going to give me a sample of what you can do.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Even after hearing you, I'm not going to sit there and automatically dollar signs start flipping in my eyeballs.
Right.
You know, that's just not the way I was raised. It's not who I am as a person.
Sure.
I'm not here to rip nobody off.
Yeah, and there are definitely a lot of wolves in, in LA too. Oh,
yeah.
Gosh.
And if I had my way, I probably, I don't know, me and Caitlin's going to have to talk about that because I just got an idea. But anyway, literally, you could come in here, sit down. I could mic your guitar, and you could do your demo.
Yeah.
And there's no way in hell I'd charge you $1,500 for something that took me one song length.
Right.
And I guarantee damn well to you, I'm not going to put it in fucking Pro Tools.
For sure. And
butcher the crap out of it.
Yeah, and a lot of people do that. A lot of people, like, honestly, you know, if you have to, if it's like a dichotomy between having talent and having money, in this day and age, I feel like as an independent artist, to an extent, having money is more advantageous than talent, which is just like so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But
no,
you know,
the heartbreaking part is you see somebody that has no talent.
Yeah.
And somebody gives them a wad of cash.
Right.
And they go and they cut this with auto-tune and all this other stuff. That's what gets me. Yeah,
and you know, it's hard to see, like, so from a record label standpoint, a lot of them are just going after people with big online followings. And oftentimes, if you can spend the money to doll yourself up and have these like crazy music videos with big budgets and stuff, you can get pretty far.
Yeah.
You know, like, you can make things sound such a way, even if you're not a great singer, to where, like, when all is said and done, it's like, you know, a groovy song to quite a few people. And it's heartbreaking to me when I'll see some of these people that I know personally in some cases who are just so talented. They just bleed talent. And, you know, they're having to work multiple jobs just to pay the rent. And it's just like, it's so sad to see these people struggle. And then you see these other people just breeze past all of these, I guess, like, industry gates.
Yeah.
Because they're so well funded by, I don't know if it's mom and dad or whomever.
Oh, who knows? I mean, that's what always got me, because I'm not going to lie, I'm one of those guys, okay? When I started doing lights and sound, I still had to have that day job.
Yeah.
And my dream was to basically do my lights and sound.
Sure, full time.
Yeah. And it was disheartening to me. I would see somebody that did not know how to match the lights to the actual music.
Yeah.
They could do a scene, but it was nowhere in tempo with the music. It was nowhere.
There was no intuition for it.
There was none.
Yeah.
You know, because whenever I was doing lights and sound, I did everything by ear.
Sure.
No computers. It was par cans. It was beautiful, actual creation.
Sure.
And to paint a scene on a stage and hear people just go crazy was one of the biggest thrills I ever had.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's a dance, between you and the people on stage, really.
Yeah. And then you see somebody come in that daddy bought a rig for.
Yeah.
And they don't know how to run it. And they're the ones that are advancing.
Yeah. It's hard.
And I'm like, dude.
Yeah.
I can do a whole lot better than him.
Sure.
You know?
I definitely feel like that whole situation has gotten a lot worse.
Yeah, it's gotten a lot worse because there's people out there probably tone deaf.
Yeah.
And they're creating programs on the computers, and they're painting all the scenes and everything on the computer.
Right. Or they're more than likely they're getting someone else to do that.
Yeah, a programmer,
and paying them a lot.
Yeah, and then with all the new technology and everything, I mean, Caitlin, what's that board called? The Soundcraft, whatever it was.
Oh, Soundcraft.
Yeah, it's on stage, and you got a tablet.
Sure. Yeah.
You cannot set that tablet to pinpoint.
No, I mean it's very cool to me that that's even an option, but it's like without the actual physical board, I don't feel nearly as at home. You know, I had to use Soundcraft a little bit, and I was just it wasn't my thing.
Yeah, I just
like I like it like with Behringer, like with an X32. You have the option if you want to sound check someone on stage, you can get pretty good levels that way. But like the option to do it that way or go to the physical unit.
I'd go to the physical board.
Yeah. I mean, the actual kinesthetic approach of like touching the knobs and the faders. There's a level of like, I guess, intimacy with the sound that I feel like is hard to get on like a tablet.
Yeah. And that's it. The tablet, when I was playing with it before, I was very happy to see Caitlin walk up and say, "What are you doing?" I handed her the board. "Here, you take this. I can't do it."
Sure.
But what I noticed was it's kind of like you're watching a movie on YouTube.
Yeah.
And you're trying to go back to a certain little second point.
Yeah.
And you can never hit it.
Yeah. You can get close, but you can never quite hit the point.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I feel that.
And that's the way it was. That's why I felt like with that board, I couldn't get it to get right where I wanted it.
Yeah.
Because I knew the room size. Mm-hmm. I knew how many people were going to be there.
Sure.
And I knew what my ear was telling me.
Right.
And I could not get it.
Yeah.
Again,
I think it's great that it's an option, and like my workflow is generally a combination of the two. Mm-hmm. But I agree with you. There's not really a substitute for the real actual physical board.
Yeah. Now, do you when you're creating music for the scores?
Yeah.
Are you running through an actual physical board, or how are you doing that?
I would love to run it through a physical board, but as things stand, it's all been very digital.
So that's what I was curious about.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, there are places I can go to if I need to dub over like live streams or something. Yeah. Like I know people that have setups where they can make that happen. But me, I mean, I'm just working at a home.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So having a big board would be so nice. But one day
I'd love it.
One day, maybe like a Neve or something.
Yeah. Well, I mean. Honestly, I wished I could get an old
like an SSL.
Analog Behringer or I'd love an old PV.
Okay. All right.
You ever run an old PV?
Mm-mm.
Oh, God, they're so much fun.
Are they?
Basic.
Okay.
I mean,
fair enough.
Basic. That's all it is. I mean,
but hey, one doesn't need a ton of bells and whistles to make something sound really good.
Well, I mean, on the older PVs, it was just bass, mid-range, treble.
Yeah.
You had your buttons for your plug-in racks.
Yeah. I mean, hey, if the inputs are quality, then
I mean,
the outputs will be quality.
It was all black, and it was gorgeous.
Sure.
The good old days. I loved it. All right, dude. Well, I guess we're going to get out of here.
Gonna get out of here?
How much time we got on there, Caitlin?
Hour and 30.
Well, you can. Go.
Run to the hills.
Oh, don't go chasing waterfalls. See, I can't sing worth shit.
I saw Billy Joel and Stevie Nicks in concert in Ohio a couple weeks ago.
You know what?
It was.
I don't care how old Stevie Nicks gets. I would kiss her. I I'd walk right up and go, "Hi, I'm David. I love you." But if she ever showed up, there'd be a line, male and female, standing in line just wanting to kiss.
It was a hell of a show. It was actually really sad. She got very like emotional towards the end because it was one of her first shows, I think, without Christine McVie.
Yeah,
passed away.
They were really close.
They were really close. Yeah, but no, it was cool. You know, the audio setup there was like. You look sometimes at these like massive shows at the audio setup, and the kind of hut that they have in the middle. It's like, Lord, like, to work on one of those, to be on stage with one of those, but also just to work sound for one of those lights.
Well, I mean, when I was doing it, we didn't have in-ear monitors and a board on the side of the stage, and
it was good old wedges.
It was just nothing but a straight front of house, man.
Oh yeah,
you had a 25, 50, 75 foot, 100 foot long snake.
Yep.
And cords every freaking where,
Yeah, just the scale. I mean, man, I would be intimidated just to like step into that booth.
It was awesome.
Like, there's a lot of money on the line if I screwed this up.
Oh yeah,
this isn't the bar in Nashville.
Well, I mean, you didn't have to worry about busting somebody's eardrums because of the in-ears.
Sure,
you didn't have to worry about none of that crap. You just had to make sure the wedges were where they want.
Yeah.
And back then, the musicians knew what they wanted. Mm-hmm. So they helped out a lot when they were on stage.
Sound check,
and they would tell you, point down at a wedge and up or down, and you had that control.
Sure.
Hell, we would run. I used to do, like the main singer.
Yeah.
I would do anywhere from 3 to 4 wedges on him.
Okay.
And then I would run.
Give him that surround sound.
Yeah, and I would actually give him. I had 2 different lines for the wedges up front.
Okay.
I'd have like a line 1 for the 2 wedges and a line 2 for the other 2 wedges.
Okay, solid.
That way I could give him what he wanted.
Sure.
Because I mean, some people, especially if you're doing multiple bands, you got some people that want full wedge. You got some that only want to hear. Different. It's I imagine still the same with the in-ears.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong.
Are a blessing, but
they are. They really are. Because I've lost over the years. I've lost probably 30% of my hearing in this ear, and about 15 in this ear.
Definitely a risk of the profession.
Yeah, and you add in truck driving, and you're asleep in the bunk.
Yeah.
And your co-driver is going way up and over hills and mountains and everything else instead of your ears popping naturally. You wake up and you got immense pain in your ears.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just, it's crazy. It's hard to believe I actually set all this stuff up.
What do you mean?
Well, Caitlin told me I did a pretty good job at it, so. But half of it I can't even hear half the time. There's some frequencies I can't even hear now. Like if somebody's talking to me.
Really?
And they're in that frequency range.
Yeah. Do you know what range it is that is like?
I was never good at putting the actual like
numbers on it.
Yeah. I mean, 10K was easy because I just look at the EQ and I'd pull down to 10K. You know that EQ, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
The one she uses as a graph on a board.
Yeah.
Mine was the actual EQ.
Sure.
You just reach over and pull it down.
Yeah. Like, you mean a graphic EQ where it just kind of flip down like 10K?
Yeah.
Versus like a parametric where they got all the...
No, it's just, dude, it was a rack EQ. And that's what you seen. And all you had was the...
Yeah. Like a graphic where you just flip down and flip up.
I don't know what the hell you call it, graphic or whatever the hell it was. It was an EQ.
Yeah, no, I got you.
I remember when Kenwood stereos came out and they had a EQ built into their big old rack.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
And you just bump it like 3 dB at a certain frequency.
I was always more on the wave.
Sure.
I would do the wave technique.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's what I always did. And I didn't go by certain frequencies and all that other stuff.
Oh, fair enough.
I know their frequencies.
Yeah.
I know what 10K.
Mm-hmm.
And what was that other one? 7.5? I think it was. I can't remember. I'd have to pull one
The
up.
squeak zone.
Yeah, it was in the squeak zone. But what part of my hearing that I can't hear anymore is it's above 10K, but it's right before you get to your mids.
Okay.
In other words, I think it's like a couple ex-girlfriends. I had problems hearing them.
Okay, so it's above the mids but below 10K.
Yeah, it's right in that area somewhere.
Okay.
But
like 4 or 5.
thinking about it, it could have been just because they were ex-girlfriends. I don't know.
Fair enough.
Who knows? It's crazy. Anyway, man, I really appreciate you coming out and having fun with me.
This is great. I'm super glad I came.
Yeah, well, I mean, not bad for your first podcast.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
So you're going back to LA and get back to working.
Yeah. Yep.
So you got to come out Christmas, man.
Yeah, and I'm definitely I'm thinking about when I'm going to come back.
Yeah, I mean, go over, see mom, then come up.
Yeah.
Hang out.
It's not that far.
I mean,
Antonio?
we're in the South. We'll cook out. I don't care.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
It'll be fun. All right, y'all. Peter, appreciate you, brother.
Of course.
And we'll stay in touch.
Absolutely.
All right, y'all. I'm going to get on my soapbox for just a little bit because I'm tired. Peter's tired. Caitlin's wondering when the hell we're going to get done with this shit. So that's 2 things I got you to nod real quick at. All right, cool. So anyway, all right, y'all. Remember, please help out all these independent artists, people that are just starting out. Don't try ripping them off and taking their money. Actually help these people. Everybody out there, like, share, follow, subscribe. And I'm going to throw in a couple more for you. If they've got merch, buy their merch. Help them out. If they have links on their websites, support them. I've actually got on mine, you can click on and support my show because the show is getting bigger, and I really do appreciate everybody that's watching and actually took an interest in my little endeavor here. We're going to keep it rolling, and hopefully some people will actually like to help support the show. The links are on YouTube and on the podcast. Like, share, subscribe. Help me out. Help all these other people out, and we'll see you more later. Toodaloo.